How you doing, Ken?
Pretty good.
How you feeling today? How'd you sleep?
So good.
How many hours?
7:30.
7:30?
Yeah.
To how many hours?
That's how people talk in the world, not just in the United States. They say 7:30. Yep.
Welcome to Tea Time, a show that spotlights the growing and changing world of vintage, and not only the clothes themselves, but the stories and people behind them. Covering everything from reselling to sustainability, this is the ThriftCon podcast.
That's a great karaoke song.
Yeah, that one guy did it, though, so the joke's kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we're here in this room today to talk about the ThriftCon LA that capped off the year of 2021, a year come true.
Yes, sir. TCLA. That was supposed to work like an air horn, but it was just applause. So
Well, you should have had it as an air horn if you wanted it to be an air horn.
we'll just do that because that's more appropriate for what just happened. ThriftCon LA, baby. How was it? How you feeling about it, Ken?
I feel good. I mean, we executed on everything we wanted to do. It was, everything came together the way we wanted it to. There were some things beyond our control. Maybe the gods were looking down on us, saying, figure it out. But no, I mean, we did it. And it was the coolest,
win again.
coolest lineup we've ever done of people. Pretty fucking cool venue. We'll talk about that, whether it was cool or not. But we did everything that we wanted to do. We invested a lot more into the experience than we ever have before, like far beyond anything we've ever done before. The load in, the load out was way bigger than ever before. So we did put a lot more work into it, contrary to what Instagram commenters believe.
Unbelievable. Yeah. We really did. I can attest to that for sure. I think everyone in our crew can attest to that. It was an awesome event overall. There's definitely a lot to talk about and get into. I think that was a great kind of intro, so let's start it off.
So we were looking for the venue for LA, knowing that we needed to do LA and we wanted to get back and give the people something, whether or not it was going to be a teeny tiny little event because of rules or whatever. We were just, hoping for the best because LA's got the gnarliest rules.
So let's take it back first. When's the last time were we in LA?
December 2019, the 15th of December 2019.
So the last time ThriftCon was in LA, December 2019, damn near 2 years to the day that we did LA this time. And that is because COVID, right? And so, and also the other crazy thing is like, wow, I just thought of that too. December 2019, ThriftCon LA, that's the first time we went outside of Denver.
Yeah, that was the first one we ever did out of state. And that was the first time we ever did a convention center, like a city-owned property. I mean, I guess the one in Denver is, but it's really not on that level. It's not like the Denver or the Colorado Convention Center. That LA Convention Center was cool and wild and a bit big of a bite to chew. So that event went really, really well. But some of our mentors, we got a friend who actually did Snowball back in the day, which was like this big festival, kind of the prelude to some of these winter outdoor festivals. And he was like, if you want to do this really big in LA, you got to get it in a cooler area. You got to get food. You got to get drinks. You got to get all this stuff, which is not what we had going on at the convention center in LA. So I think that was one of our guiding, goals coming back to LA was to have more control over what type of food, what type of beverages, what type of experience we could provide.
And not just him saying that, it was more us experiencing that in things like, at things in LA, period. Like, you go to Complex Con, people in LA have that. They have the markets that like Guess and Babylon have thrown, like just these wild, all types of shit, festivals, good markets every weekend. Like there's just so much in LA. So, if you come out there, you got to just stand out a little bit.
Yeah, you got to do it a little bit bigger. So that's what we were looking for going into looking for a place in LA was somewhere we could do something a little bit more produced experience-wise and have a little bit more control of the service providers and the stuff that we did inside of the venue, like the design elements that we kind of changed in the venue to reflect this is now ThriftCon. This is not just this random building, which I think we executed really well on. But that's stuff you can't really do at the LA Convention Center. You can't go in there and cover up walls with stuff unless you want to pay just an arm and a leg.
It's so much money, and the walls are so big too. It's crazy. It's like even walls. If you either have to pay to cover the whole thing, which is absolutely insane, or you cover a tiny little part with a sign on it, and then it just looks stupid. So basically we were trying to find that perfect fit for us in LA. So that is, in June of this year, and this is in the midst of trying to find a couple other venues around that time, I think, as well. I can't really fucking remember how the year goes, but I know in June of this year, we fly to LA to look at a couple spaces, and really Magic Box, our tour there goes great.
Yeah, it went really well.
We do it with this dude Wayne, and he's a super suave, like cool dude, and yeah, the tour went awesome there. He sold it to us, like he sold the shit out of it to us. We were pumped. I remember being like, damn, should we just do it right now? Let's shake this dude's hand.
Yeah, so that's what we did, and we had been talking to Wayne in 2020 too, because this venue was recommended to us by another mentor of ours. And he was like, it's the right size for you. It's cooler. It's this, it's that. It's, the third. So that individual, he actually works for Complex Con, had recommended this place to us. And we were like, all right, well, we'll take the word of someone who's been around the block. He lives in LA. We don't, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Wayne killed the pitch.
He really sold us.
He told us a lot of things that he would do that he didn't do.
That didn't happen.
Didn't necessarily happen the way we thought they would.
The load-in, I remember too. His load-in pitch was like, oh shit, you guys don't even gotta be there on Saturday morning. Fucking
yeah.
His load-in pitch was crazy. We're like, damn, no one's ever load-in was the fucking same, dude. We did that shit. So yeah, I mean, his sale, kudos to Wayne. He got us a little bit on that, but also again, it was recommended by someone that we trust. It was in a great area. We could control a lot more of the food, the bar. We were in charge of all of that for the first time ever. And then we just didn't have any other good options. We did not have any other solid options in LA. We wanted to come back. It had been 2 years. We'd been growing so much. Everyone been it's one of our biggest markets. It's where a ton of our vendors reside. Everyone's like, oh, you guys got to make it back to LA. So us looking at this place, all right, and I will also say at this time, Wayne's pitching us on multiple floors, but in June at this time, we're looking at it as just that top floor.
Yeah, just the top floor.
We weren't looking at multiple floors at first. We're looking at just this top floor. So we're like, all right, already didn't love that it was upstairs, didn't love the shorter ceilings because, a little bit different from these large convention centers and these bigger rooms with 30-foot ceilings that we were in some of these other cities. But having said that, we're like, I think we can crush this vibe upstairs.
So then what happens was we did Houston. We sold an insane amount of booths, the most we've ever done.
A month
over 100. So then when we signed the contract, I just pulled it up.
It was 160 in Houston, 160 vendors.
Yeah, so when I signed this contract hold up. I signed it on August 25th. So about a month after Houston and about 2 months after seeing the venue, we signed the contract. And then the contract was to have both of the downstairs rooms and the upstairs rooms because we were like, well, these booths are in crazy demand. Why would we limit the event to just upstairs if there's these big, beautiful rooms downstairs that aren't going to get used if we don't use them?
people would just be walking by them. And then, so it became a matter of having like 85 vendors versus like 125 vendors. So, that's 40 more people that get to participate and that we know want to participate. Like we could have had 325. There were so many people still hitting us up all the booths sold out in a couple days, right? We had to pause it and then reopen it, and then we reopened it. It sold out in minutes, and so we just did our best with that and trying to get everyone we could in there. But yeah, so that was kind of that. But so before that, something we've never done before this time. Just trying to paint the background of, all right, once we did sign and realize it's going to be 2 rooms, it wasn't just, okay, this is going to work out. This is going to be perfect. Like that was something that started stressing us out the moment we're like, all right, let's do 2 rooms, 2 floors. We knew that it was going to be a battle getting people everywhere and getting the flow just to work. Like we just knew, like, all right, now we're gonna need more signage. We're gonna need to post about we're gonna need a map. We're gonna need an actual thing that people can visualize and see this. And so there's just a lot more already that we knew. So for the first time ever, we went to see the space for a second time.
Yeah, well, we went to see the Vegas space, got a rental car, saw Vegas, drove to LA, saw LA, drove back to Vegas. That's what we did in the course of 2 days. So we finalized everything in LA, talked to our in Vegas, talked to the service providers in the venue, and felt really good about Vegas. So we then hopped in a car and drove to LA to then look at this space for a second time, which was super valuable because it really anchored, okay, so this is that room, this is that room. These are all the halls that people could get lost in. This is an exit, this is an entrance. That was super helpful, but wild because usually we just go usually it's just one big room. We make a floor plan. We make sure that people can walk around it, and that's it. We show up on the day, 2 days before, and we throw the show. But this venue, we could not reasonably do that because it's really hard to visualize 2 floors on 2D on your computer, and even harder to visualize that building because there's so many halls and entrances and exits. Most of the halls that we do, there's an entrance and there's an exit. Into the hall is how you walk in, out of the hall is how you walk out. But that's not what we were dealing with in LA.
Yeah, so no, we were worried about it from the jump and just wanted to make sure that everyone kind of got everywhere. Everyone knew where they could go, where they couldn't go, all of that. So we flew out, like you said, got Vegas, drove to LA, looked at that for the second time, went back. And then we did Complex Con in November, had a booth there with the NBA. And after that, we went for a third time. Just again, like, all right, we're in LA, we're right here, we're flying out of LAX. Like, so before we flew out, we drove for a third time to just once again, a month before, this is November 8th. So a month before the event, just to, as much as we could, we were trying to take care of that. And like Ken said, we're not, that was the first time we ever had to even try to create a flow for an event. It's always just been put people in a room, you can see everybody.
Yeah.
So it's something we were thinking about and we were working on for months in advance.
So on that third trip, we identified, where we wanted to do wall wraps, where we wanted to place certain signs, how would the vendors actually fit in there. We had a preliminary layout, but we were walking around with it like, can this booth reasonably be here? So we had to drop or add a couple booths here or there. That third walkthrough was like the last one, and we had to just be like, fingers crossed, hopefully all these people come through with, the signs that we were trying to make, the bar, the food, all this stuff had to happen for us to think that what we thought would work would work.
Right. So that's a month out. We work our ass off for the next month doing promo, hitting it with sponsors, doing all that, doing everything we do for every single event. Flash forward to December 9th. We get there on the 8th, but 8th is a boring day. We don't need to talk about that. It's just errands, picking up stuff like picking up Tulago, things like that. The 9th, the whole squad arrives. That's always a good day. The day before, like load in. I guess you kind of had still had errands going on that day. But
yeah, I mean, I was just bopping around.
Yeah, but that's always a fun day. So we had the squad get there. We went and visited Earthling, which is where we hosted our pre-party. That is their showroom in Silver Lake is unbelievable. But so we went and took the squad there so they could kind of see it before the pre-party and shop a little bit. Went to Grand Central for lunch. Went to Worskoosh and got beers. Went to Dan Sung Sa. Really kind of did a whole LA trip day.
Yeah, we were bopping around. I lost my car. Took me like 30 minutes to find the car because I didn't drop a pin. That was a mess. I was like kicking Lime scooters down. I like rented one, got pissed, I kicked it.
Not one of your prouder moments.
No, I was freaking my girlfriend out too.
Yeah, I bet you love that. So then next day, we have load-in day. Load-in and pre-party day. Take us through load-in, Ken, from your perspective.
Well, from my perspective, load-in was like really nerve-wracking because we were missing a whole palette of stuff, and it was very important stuff. It was all of the signs, every single sign. So the sign from where you're supposed to stand in line to, this is where the health check is, to this is where the entrance is, this is, where the floor, like all of those signs that people said we didn't make were in that box. We did make them. They were in that box, and that box, basically I got on the phone early in the morning and they were like, yeah, we can't get that there until like Tuesday, man. And I was like, no, yeah, you can. No, you're going to get it here today by 5 because, I paid for it to be there by 5. And so that was a mess. All of load-in, I never took my AirPods out of my ears because people were just constantly calling me. It was the freight people, the caterers, the venue, all the different service providers were like calling me. We had stuff coming from Vegas. That guy was calling me because that was a little bit weird and shaky. So I never took my AirPods out of my ears because calls were coming in until probably like by the time you guys left is when I pulled them out, and I was like, I can't even. It was like hurting my ears by that point.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough load-in. It's always hard when we're at a new venue, which is, damn near every time this time. Like, I guess new venue meaning for me this time, it's like 2 floors just makes it instantly that's going to be more difficult, right? A 2-floor layout, like half our squad has to be upstairs, half of our squad has to be downstairs. People are spread thin. So that made it tough. And then also we just had some new installs too. So we had this whole N64 installation that had to be built. And that ended up being a big headache. Just working with old consoles and old TVs. Ken was there for a fucking minute trying to make that happen. I apologize, Ken.
I did get one of them working though, so that's cool. Shout out to Burke too. Yeah. Burke Visual, he gave us the TVs to borrow. And I had a blast the day before just dicking around with him around the city. He's got a studio where he does tattoos and works on his multimedia art. That was a cool studio. There was like a screen press guy in there. I don't remember their names, but there was a guy like doing screen presses. There was a guy like designing an entire collection of NFTs, like just sitting there, just like literally like making what it probably popped off. I don't even know, but they looked proper. The NFTs. I was like, are you making avatars right now? He was like, yeah, man, I got to do this whole set. I got to do like 60 of them. I was like, Jesus, all right, cool. Cool little weird fucking room.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Burke, man. He's a real guy.
Yeah, he's a real guy.
He truly does this.
Yeah, he had a shitload of TVs, and then we messed around for, I don't know, 2 hours trying to figure out the right size. Plus, does this actually work? Like, does this particular TV, the AV input work? He had a phenomenal TV, like great condition, and only the VHS worked, which was a bummer because he was like, "This is my baby. This is the best TV I got," and I was like, "Well, let me get that one." And then we tried to plug everything in, and it just wasn't working. And I think he kind of wiped it. He was like, yeah, thank God you didn't take it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that day there was a lot of stress going on still, though. So, sorry, going back to load in. Going back to load in. I mean, that day was insanely stressful, though. We also had the caterer falling through on us.
Yeah, so that
was still up in the air, but
yeah, there was supposed to be a bar. That's why if you guys went, there was a big ass section on the second floor that was fenced off with barricades and had tables and looked like something was supposed to be happening there, and nothing happened there. Was because there was supposed to be a bar sponsored by Talago, cheap Talago on deck, and like a full bar. If you wanted a Bloody Mary, you could have got it. And apparently what happened was they put the papers through. They told me they put the papers through a month before. So probably right around Complex Con, I was talking to these guys and I was like, are these papers in? They're like, yeah, it's no big deal. Week before, I'm like, yo, give me your insurance and this permit. And they're like, here's the insurance. Permit's probably going to come down to the wire. And then Thursday night, they called me and they were like, do you know anybody at the LAPD? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, dude, you should. So apparently they had to get the permit countersigned by a police officer and then brought back to another department. So it's basically a 2-day operation. You got to wait to get it signed by someone and then get it back to a different department, all in person on another side of town.
The government is fucking stupid.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, and I won't.
We have emails and PDFs.
I don't want to throw shade on the caterer because that too was out of his control.
Right.
And we made amends and we figured everything out. But yeah, that was just one of those big things. Like there was supposed to be a giant fun bar upstairs with music and freebies and tasters and all this stuff. And we printed signs and we put it on the wall. We had to,
It was sponsored by Talago. So Talago literally, there was a whole entrance. They were, like Ken said, they had people that were going to be there giving out free Talago stuff, free Talago samples. There was special drinks at the bar. So yeah, with that alone, for that alone would have brought so many more people upstairs. I mean, everyone would have went upstairs for a drink at least. Right?
Yeah, there was a purposeful reason to have the bar upstairs was because we were doing everything in our power to get people upstairs. Round 2, we offered upstairs too, and they accepted it, and that was intended to be a big draw upstairs. But I think that bar would have been a huge help because people would have just gravitated towards booze because people like to drink.
Yeah, especially at an event like that, especially when there's free stuff being given out by a cool brand and a brand like Talago. That's I think a lot of people in LA in our scene can identify with a brand like Talago, would drink a brand like Talago. So yeah, that was a super big bummer. And so then I found out actually, so again, this is all kind of still up in the air throughout the day. Leave the pre-party or leave the load in, and I go to the pre-party. Ken's still kind of stuck at load in, so he didn't even get to go to the pre-party. But so we're all, pre-party is at Earthling. It's amazing. It's a vibe, which I'll get to in a second. But I actually get the text, like sitting there smoking a J with everyone on the roof at the pre-party, and then get like the text or the call from Ken, like, yeah, no, bar's not going to happen.
Yeah, that was such a punch in the gut. Like,
yeah,
man, like,
yeah.
And just like if we, another thing is just like if we had not chosen this venue and chose a venue with an existing catering person, like this venue was like, you could do anything. You could choose anybody.
Yeah.
So we chose even one of the people they recommended. But yeah, like, for example, in Vegas, there was drinks on deck because there was an existing partner that was ready to go immediately. So but the flip side of that is like behind the scenes is that like if you hire someone and you're controlling the bar, then you get a piece of that revenue. If they have someone set up and they they own that revenue at the bar, then it's their revenue. So,
and also it's the experiences are different, right?
Yeah.
So like if we're the place in Vegas, right? Like we can't do anything for that experience. It's great for the customers experience wise just to have booze, but we can't bring in a Tulago and design a cool bar, and like none of that stuff happens with people that they already have in house. Yeah. So that's why, going to a place like Magic Box where we can control the booze can be attractive because like we can get a little bit of bread off of it. It's not much because it's really not like anything, and because ThriftCon's not a fucking party. But also we can control the experience side of it, which is a lot more of it. Like that's something that really does like heighten the event, heighten the customer's experience, the guest experience. And so, I think that's why it was so attractive for us, because that's one of that's one of the big things for us. It's like, how much fun are people having? How much is there to do outside of the clothing? So yeah, that was what made it so attractive for us.
So I got out of the venue during load-in at like 8 or so, and then I attempted to go to sleep, and I didn't sleep at all because I felt really responsible for both the caterer and just a lot of things that I just like couldn't get any rest. So realistically, I don't think I slept that night. I think I realized that I was sleeping probably around like 2, but my alarm went off at 3:30. So
yikes. Yeah, so we did the pre-party at Earthling. It was awesome. They had, their space is wild. They have the one whole space that is 3 stories and is their showroom, just full of shit. First floor is like posters and music. Second floor, posters and music, and then their customs. Second floor is just every t-shirt you could ever want to look at. Third floor is just wild stuff, jackets and outerwear and things. And then they have a whole other side that they're now doing that they're renting out for video shoots and photo shoots and just things like that. It's really just a vibe. They have some furniture in there. Animals Los Angeles is in with them on that. It's called the Village LA. So the party was kind of back and forth between those two. And then they also live right there in this little space too, and have their personal collection, which looks like it's, their personal collection is bigger than in most vintage stores collection that I've seen too. So Earthling are really doing it. Thank you so much to both of you guys, for Nick and Hannah for hosting us. We really appreciate that. I know Ken wasn't able to be there, but it was a great vibe. Thank you to Tulago. Tulago sponsored the pre-party as well, and so we had a bunch of Tulago there. Everyone was throwing them back all night. That's all we drank for most of the weekend. So thank you guys for real. Shout out to you for that. And sorry that the bar didn't work out, but we are still, us and Tulago, we're like this, baby. We're going to do something this year. So you guys, that's not the last you'll see of them.
Also, it's super fucking bomb.
It's the best seltzer.
It's bomb.
Hands down. It's fucking delicious. So yeah, that ginger pear, ooh.
They got a lot going on with stuff that I can't really speak to, but it's like more sustainable. There's nothing artificial, all that good stuff. They're really they got the right ethos.
There's a lot of cool people involved.
In the seltzer game.
Yeah, a lot of cool people involved too. Matt McCormick, he's one of the owners. He does all the artwork for everything too. And it's all he kind of just leads the vibe. I don't know. They're on it. Okay. So that is day before. Like Ken said, goes to sleep. Ken gets up at 3:30, doesn't go to sleep. Alarm goes off at 3:30. I went to sleep a little bit, probably about 11:30, because of the beers and weed, or the seltzer and weed. And then I woke up at 2 though, and once you wake up, there's no going back.
Yeah, I mean, I was in bed. I was closing my eyes.
Right.
And that shit never happens to me, bro. I'm always sleeping.
No, I was out for a couple hours, but then, like I said, I probably got a solid 3. But then once you wake up, I'm just thinking about everything, how many people are going to come through, how many people are buying tickets. I'm literally checking Eventbrite at 2 a.m. in my bed.
Sketch.
Stupid shit. And then, about 3:30, we get up. We have a little meeting, a little convening in the lobby. Chick-fil-A breakfast.
No,
that was day before. I was going to say that was day before.
No, we don't eat breakfast at load-in until 9.
We don't. Chick-fil-A breakfast still came though.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's why I thought that. Yeah, but so we meet up at 3:30 in the lobby, get everyone downstairs. It's always hard to get everyone kind of like motivated in the morning. Everyone like in those first 15 minutes, it's a very dead crew, and rightfully so. But once we get to the venue, everyone kind of starts waking up. Lee's getting excited. Load in was great. I thought this time it was definitely hectic, but I thought we handled it pretty well.
I will say on Magic Box's behalf, they were ready for load in, and they were doing it. They didn't do everything that they said they would do. They basically said that they would handle it for us, which wasn't the case, right. But they were there before we were there. They were dealing with all the vendors, like the vendors who show up early. They were getting the line going. We were supposed to have that whole line on Hill Street. For those of you who went, the line where everybody lined up to go in and where the vendors loaded in, that whole row of parking meters were supposed to be bagged off, and the city screwed us on that too. The city didn't get the permit through, so that load in was supposed to be even a little bit better than that because there weren't supposed to be any cars parked, and there weren't that many, but there were just enough to make it a little wonky. Like it was supposed to be a smooth line, everybody just waiting or unloading and then getting done. That's not exactly what happened. Lee was in the middle of the road holding it down. That's kind of like his calling. I mean, I'm sure he has a lot of other skills, but
he's quite good at directing traffic during loading.
We need him to do. He holds that down. Yeah. So sorry if you guys didn't like Lee, but he's really good for us. He does his job.
Yeah. No, I feel like most people like Lee, even if he's kind of like aggressive with you, he still gets real nice after.
Yeah, the one thing I really thought was super funny about load-in is, man, how do I put this nicely? I think that everyone in the vintage community is super nice and has their own skills and their own talents, but I will not say that the vintage community is very aware of tools and devices and, like those types of things that you probably needed to learn at a really shitty warehouse job when you were 17 or 18 years old. Like, I mean, these fools are bonking into each other with the carts and like not realize, like no spatial awareness of
not like a lot of spatial
how
awareness.
Much room is in between this and that. Knocking into walls.
Well, yeah, and
everyone's
shit. Just like so only concerned about themselves.
Oh yeah, I mean there is like there's like, very little yeah, feel free to go ahead and be that ain't.
God, happening. It's like I'm so stressed. I gotta get my shit on these racks right now.
Yeah, and there's just it's funny, and it's no shade on anyone, but it is funny what people think might work. Like, okay, this is an aluminum beam on a $14 rack. I'm gonna put 113 pounds of clothes on this, and then I'm gonna roll it on concrete and then on grates and then on up an elevator. Like, bro, that clearly is not gonna work. Like,
and then it's gonna last all day.
Yeah, so it's really, and I love all the vendors. There's no bad blood, but it is really funny to watch some of these people do what they think they were gonna do, and then they like. Oh, man, they're running into each other. Racks are breaking.
I'd say we got a good, 15 to 20%, though, that are fucking on point. There's, just the most insane, clear line that is drawn. And 85% on this side are just fucking up when they get to load in and, stressed. And like Ken said, their plan is just not working. It's just not going to plan. And then that other 15%, though, came so prepared. So insanely prepared. Poster Scene has scouted the location 3 days before and knows where he's gonna be. There's no middle ground.
But at the end of the day, load in is realistically not a difficult thing to achieve. So it always gets done, whether or not you had actual children doing it, it would still probably get done. But it is funny to watch people interact with each other in that type of high intensity environment with, tools that they are not familiar with using. And it's pretty funny.
And people are also then you get like, people are stressed, like rolling shit in and like the rack's falling down and a dude's like coming up trying to shop it and he's like, oh, this one's tight. And meanwhile, it's like falling over. He's like looking through it.
Another thing that I think is funny is like the assumed ownership of whatever device you're using that is provided by us and is for everyone. But like people will get their cart and it's like, this is my motherfucking cart. This is mine. Meanwhile, there's another 80 people that need to use carts, and there's only 20 carts. But that one's gonna be yours.
Yo, bro, can I use that? Yeah, just bring it back when you're done.
Yeah,
it's ours.
We actually lost the cart too, so fuck you to whoever like took the cart. Like, come on, guys. Also, yeah, if any vendors are listening to this,
oh my God,
ThriftCon is one thing. The venue is another thing. Neither of those people own these carts. It's always someone else whose carts these are. So like if you leave it out in the street and you think, oh yeah, they'll pick it up, like that's not gonna happen. Like it's gonna disappear. And we're in downtown LA. Like if it's not,
that's probably more likely what happened. Like someone not a vendor walked away with that.
If it's not bolted to the ground, it's fucking leaving. Like it's gonna disappear. So yeah.
Damn,
and those things cost a lot, man. Like every single time we lose one of those, we have to pay for that. And I know you guys think we're fucking rich and like just have an endless bag of money, but like, no, I don't want to pay for that. Like, take care of it, please.
Yeah,
it'll never happen. I realize this, but
yeah,
fuck, guys.
Yeah. You're just falling on fucking deaf ears right now.
Yeah.
So the layout again. Let me just talk about the layout again, because we'll address this after we get through kind of the whole event. There was some people who felt like the upstairs didn't get as much traffic, which may or may not be true. That's a hard thing to gauge, obviously. But the layout I thought was fire. I think it was very cool. I thought, like Ken said earlier, we really took a bit of a shot with it. It's definitely was an experiment for us, but I think even moving forward, if we get bigger and really have that endless bag of money, if we ever get to that point, I think like a multi-room, multi-area experience could be really cool, i.e. Complex Con, Complex Con or like Meow Wolf, like shit like that. Like when if it really is like an all day thing and there's more than just clothes and like,
if you're supposed to go on a little adventure, then you're more tuned to go on that adventure. But if you don't know that that's what you're doing, then you don't.
And obviously we tried to explain to people everywhere they needed to go. Had the QR code layout right when you walked in. We posted about it day of and day before. We were posting about it leading up, saying it's a 2-floor experience. We said that, when we first posted the flyer. So we tried. We had signage again, like Ken said.
Everybody who walked in the door was told that there was 2 floors, and to maybe check out the second floor first. Because there was so many more
after
vendors.
So after the first couple hours, our people at the door would tell people, go to the second floor first. So that was kind of like the main part, right? So, we started doing that too. So there was a ton that we were trying to do to get everyone everywhere.
Yeah. And nobody's listening to this who decided that they hate us after this event. But for those, if there is one or two of you, for those who say that there weren't signs and we didn't do these things, like we invested probably $3,000 to $5,000 in stuff that says there's a second floor.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we did. We gave people the QR code, so that's on them to use that. We were verbally telling people that it was up there. I was going on the thing and people said I did it 2 times. I did it probably 10 or 15 times.
Right.
You just can't hear every single one that I do. But nevertheless, I mean, we did what we could. There were some things that we missed. Primarily that bar would have helped a lot. I can't really like ring through much more what we could have done to tell people that there was a second floor other than potentially just putting people in the second floor on entry.
Yeah. That, more experiences and sponsors, maybe a few less vendors, and like but that like comes with procuring sponsors, you know what I mean? So like you can't just make those things happen out of the air. But all of that to say, we probably this next year, we're going to be looking for one room events,
We're always looking for one room.
We really are. But again, like I said, I could see us in the future. Don't be surprised if once or twice again in the future, we maybe pop something off like this again in LA, but a much better version. You know what I mean? More on par with that Complex Con stuff. Because I didn't hate it. I do kind of still like the idea a little bit. Mm-hmm. But so the layout was sweet. It was, you walked in. That being said, again, I liked it. I thought it was sick. You walked in, they had the first room, and the first room was the first two rooms on the first floor were all 20 by 20s. So just big ass booths, and everyone went hard. Like those vendors went hard. Earthling had a 40 by 20, and they built a store. It was fucking sick. They had walls, plants, couches, they had furniture. They basically brought every piece they had in the showroom, which if you know how much that is, it's a lot of pieces. So they just went crazy. Who else on the first floor? DZ got heat. They brought the whole basketball hoop out. World Vintage had some great, awesome true vintage stuff to look through. The Jug Bros had good stuff down there. Poster scene down there.
One Off went pretty hard with their setup.
One Off killed it, yes.
Camcorder interaction thing, and then they were doing appointments to book customizations, and they were also just selling vintage, but that's really not their thing. Yeah. Their thing is you buy something from them and then customize it.
Which they had going all day.
Yeah, they never stopped. They were there till 6 o'clock screen printing.
Yeah, shout out to Chris from One Off. Shout out to all the boys over there.
Yeah, the kid with the hair. Forget his name. I really like Chris.
He's got a great name. He's got a great name too. It's not Paulie. That's what I wanted it to be. It's something like that. But yeah, man, he's got a look, man.
He's got
even Complex Con posted that fool. You just know. He just knows.
He knows.
He knows. So first floor, super tight. Whatnot was down there as well, and Whatnot's booth was super sick. They had, their big pile where it was a blindfolded 15-second giveaway. You could just grab and fill a Whatnot tote. That went within the first few hours. It was already people plucked through the whole thing, had taken everything. So that was cool. They had Due Date Studios do a live auction there. So yes, thank you to them. Thank you to Whatnot for being involved in multiple events this year. You'll definitely see them back next year, I'm sure. And then from there, you would either walk up the stairs or you could take the elevator. Elevator was pretty cool too, because when you get out on the elevator, it looked like you were at, in a New York subway. So that was pretty tight. But so once you made it upstairs, like Ken said, that was, that is the main event, really.
Yeah.
That is, 90 booths upstairs. Round 2 was up there. It was just 90, 10 by 15s. And again, so many people up there going hard too. Unholy Saints, Privileged, Animals. Round 2 had a sweet space. We talked with them before and gave them this kind of already built out space that Adidas had done an activation in. So that was cool. I really did like it. I thought the layout was awesome.
I really did like it too. And when I crossed paths with people walking upstairs, it was whoa. People were pumped to be upstairs. And it's hard to make everybody happy. And every single event, whether it goes insanely off, there's always complaints. You cannot make everybody happy. But when you're dealing with, this is our baby, it sucks to hear that, people felt one way or another. But I think the same thing rings true with pretty much anything is the negative voices cut through louder than all of the positive voices that were floating around. All of the good things that were said got really overshadowed by us feeling like we let some other vendors down. And the reality is that we can't make everybody happy. The best we can do is the best we can do.
100%. There were a ton of vendors upstairs who crushed and had a great day. There was no bullshit at all. There was one vendor who came up and was like, who's been to several other events this year and was like, this is the best I've done at a ThriftCon yet. And, for whatever reason, it goes different for some people sometimes, and like Ken said, we really can't make everyone happy, and it does suck. Like it's, that day, even like already having some vendors complain that day and like come down and like talk to us at the front and like, complain about the upstairs traffic. It like, oh man, it like makes it tough. You know what I mean? Like I'm like trying to walk around and, interview people and be on, and like that made it like hard to like want to go upstairs. Like eventually, obviously in the afternoon, Joel and I, we like made it upstairs and we like did a whole bunch of interviews up there and everything. And like, again, got a whole bunch of great vibes and like people stoked on it, but it was like, fuck dude, like, damn, like again, like, it just feels like it feels more like we're letting people down, which we can't control how everyone does. At the end of the day, we're taking a risk in throwing this event and potentially not making money on it, potentially making money on it. And you are also taking a smaller risk by being a part of the event, but a risk nonetheless.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a business without risk.
Right. And so like,
if you're going to own a business, you're subject to not doing well sometimes.
At the end of the day, we cannot like guarantee you to come out and make a bunch of money, double your money, triple your money, make a few grand, like
pay rent for 6 months.
Like we can't guarantee that. I know. And what's unfortunately like the first few events, or even damn near maybe every other event for some of these vendors that said that it might have happened. But it's just not guaranteed at every event that you specifically will come out and crush it and hit this number. Like it's just, it's not like that.
But I think however much that caught, with that being said, there is like, we feel you guys. We do feel you guys.
100%. Like we want you to come out and crush every single time. Obviously that's what we want. But as Ken said, we're growing. This is an ever changing thing right now, and you guys are growing with us with this. Okay. You have to have a little bit of faith, and you have to have just a little bit of understanding, right? Because, we aren't a giant established brand with a bunch of money behind them. Like Reed Pop doesn't own ThriftCon. Okay, like it is a couple of guys that are doing it. It's the money that we make with these events are the money that we're using for the events. Like no one else is giving us money for this. Okay, so you're growing with us, and we take everything you guys say into account. Like Ken said, it's not. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is this next year, just understand. We will be going hard to make everything bigger and better, and we're not out for number one. We're not here just to make money. We're not here just to make things right for ourselves. We want these events to be as fire as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I think that about covers the event. You know what I mean? Overall, LA was a giant success. It was one of the coolest events we've had. It was an amazing layout. It was hands down, I think, the best lineup we've had as far as like recognizable names in the thrift community.
For sure. I think what it was phenomenal, and what it wasn't is something that is basically like it all comes down to risk. Like what it was great, and everybody was in on it. The people who were in on it were there, loved it. And if it didn't meet everybody's expectations, that's a like theoretically impossible thing to do.
Absolutely. And if you rock with us, you rock with us. we are coming back, not even coming back. Like, we're just going to be doing this shit all next year, and it's not going away. Like, it's just, we're going to keep growing it. The events are going to keep getting better. So yeah, I'm sure most of the vendors, you guys, if you're listening to this, you fuck with us, you'll stick around, and we appreciate you guys and being a part of any and every event that you were this year. I think next year is going to be truly dope. It's going to be something special, I think, like with these events and the way they're trending, and, you know, hopefully we can get some more sponsors involved and really kind of just make the experience a lot more heightened.
Yeah, I think this year that we're currently in is kind of going to be the year where we're actually have the infrastructure, the regulations, the ability, the wherewithal, the staff, the support, all on our side to make the event actually what we always envisioned it to be. 2021 was a big year of ifs, ands, maybes, buts. Let's try this. That sucked. We broke that. That sucked. Spent too much on that. Da-da-da-da-da. I think now with the team that we have, from, like, you know, the people helping us out with content, to Forrest as our event manager and account manager for future sponsors, you and I have really dialed in our roles. I think this is right now the time where we're going to be like, really realize the truth of what this is and supposed to be. And yeah, just last year there was a lot going on, and I think I know we did a great job, but it's kind of wild to think all of the things that we were up against to be at this point, to take this into next year. I mean, can't help but think, like, what if 2020 didn't happen? What would we be doing right now?
Yeah.
So 2020 doesn't count. Let's call this year, 2021, realistically is, like, honestly our second year of business. Like,
right.
We're in our third year right now. And I think that's where we're going to realize the truth, the little nugget of, like, what we're actually trying to do and actually be able to pull it off.
And yeah, and something that I when the camera died, I kind of had lost it, and I got caught up trying to get back to it. But so, you know, another point I wanted to make with how solid this year is going to be is, you know, when we were talking about you guys understanding that this is an ever-changing event and that we're growing and you're growing with us, we're now, you know, these cities that we'll return to next year, we have a whole bunch of venues that we're going back to the same venues, right? And we're starting to actually form these business relationships, because, like, this is our second year. Like, this is our second year, the first year we've ever actually done it traveling. So that was our first year of business on the road outside of Denver.
Yeah.
Right. So that was that was our first year of business doing this, not where we live.
And the first year of us not having other jobs. And, like, this was our job, and everything was on the line.
Right. And so that, and, you know, now Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, all these places like that, we already have relationships with these venues and vendors. You guys know these venues. You'll have been there before. You'll have done, you know, a load in there. And then you can come and you'll have already made sales in that city before and be like, oh, well, last year I did this much. And so that's kind of like, you know, you have last year numbers to go off of, you have last year experiences to go off of. So it'll be less of, you know, as you grow with us, there will be less of this, you know, it's always changing. It's a bit of a crapshoot. Like, if you grow with us and you continue to do this with us, you know, you'll be right here learning with us and be at the same venues, and it's gonna get easier. But yeah,
you'll
just
learn
keep that.
You'll learn the system that works for you, just like we're learning the system that works for us.
Keep that in mind.
And then it'll be more profitable. It'll be, you know, we're going through the same things too. Like, we could have made this whole year a bit more profitable, but we didn't know so many unknowns. Same with you. Like, if you guys, and for everybody, like, if you didn't get that job that you thought you were going to get, like, it was a weird fucking year. So there's a lot to learn and a lot to grow from. And I think that's really what we need to leave this year with, is like, okay, we tried, we won, we lost, you know, it was a tie on some things. But everyone, from the vendors to the attendees to us, I think this year we learned a lot, and now next year we can apply all of that and make every touch point, vendor, promoter, attendee, all have the best experience possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And last thing I'll say about LA, because we wanted to say this, just to be clear, we didn't run off with $1 million. For any vendors who are like, oh, they are just in it for the money and the clout, like we didn't run off with $1 million. Just want you guys to know that, like Ken said, we're growing here, and we're going through growing pains as well, and we're figuring it out as we go. And so then next year, I think we have. Do we have any? Yeah, we have 2 fully confirmed.
Yeah, we have 2 confirmed: Atlanta and Denver, March and April.
Yep.
Working on the second quarter more. And then, guaranteed events that are going to happen: Atlanta, Denver, Houston, and Vegas. Mm-hmm. Those are guaranteed. We love those venues. We're coming back to those venues. LA is also a guarantee, but I think I can comfortably say right here that we're not going to do that venue again.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a relief to some of you that didn't like it. It's a relief to us as well, because that venue cost 4 times more than any other venue we've ever done. And that's probably why, you were like, oh, this is an expensive booth. It's because it was 4 times more expensive for us to throw it. So.
But yeah, so no, we'll absolutely, LA is a market that we won't shy away from. We just got to find a better spot to do it at that again, experiments. Other places we want to hit: New York's at the top of the list. Miami is high on the list as well. We're trying to get back to Miami. We're already in talks with some people down there. I'd
like to, we also are going to, so this is what we're thinking is going to happen: Atlanta, Denver, Vegas, Houston, LA, New York, fingers crossed on that one, and then another one.
A mystery city.
A mystery city, which we will call Cityville.
A mystery city. There's we say mystery city because we don't fucking know what it is yet. There's 4 or 5 different spots that we're mulling over, that you guys have requested, that we think would be solid, that are in different parts of the country that we haven't hit yet. But so yes, Atlanta, Denver, Miami, Houston, New York, Mystery City, Vegas, LA. And then Complex Con maybe in between Vegas and LA again. Shout out to my boy Neil. Let's make it fucking happen, maybe.
And we will probably have all of these cities done and known, and hopefully really start talking about them and announcing them before the middle of the year. I think we'll have the whole first half of the year booked out by probably the end of February.
Man, that would be nice.
And then that second half of the year will probably be booked out in May, because we have some known months where nothing's happening. February is a month where there is not actively an event, so we'll be on the road. May is another month that's kind of maybe, but it's either May or June that we'll be going out there trying to book the latter half of the year.
Yep.
And then we can piggyback that and just keep this schedule rolling. Probably what we do this year, realistically, will end up being some of the anchor cities that we always do. I think that's safe to say, as long as everything goes as planned. These will be kind of the anchor cities, and we won't be changing too much about where we go, other than maybe popping in for more of a pop-up style thing as opposed to a big production.
Until we do London and Tokyo.
Right. Yeah, those would be cool.
Okay. Well, that's it. I have nothing else for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful 2022.
Yeah, I think 2022 should be fun.
And also,
should be great.
Stop taking yourself so seriously. Wow, so many of you hurt over this upcycle post. It's a meme. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just stop, dude. And if it doesn't apply to you, hey, chances are it doesn't apply to you. If you aren't wasting the shit, if your stuff looks good, just laugh at it and keep it pushing. People in the vintage world are so soft. All those people probably follow Vintage Miner.
Yeah, I think people in general need to lighten up a little bit and realize that it's literally like we're literally making jokes. Half of our content is like an actual joke.
And is like self-directed.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, you know, we're poking fun at ourselves too. Like we have done all these like station sold upcycled shit. You know what I mean? Like we've done all these things. Like we're not outside of the scope of anything that we talk about. If we're making a meme about it, it's because we're sitting here all around the office with like the team and the interns kind of just like talking about how dumb all of us can be and just like pointing out the stupid shit that we do. You know what I mean?
It's a joke.
Bagging on each other, all that.
It's a joke, and it's probably a joke directed at ourselves. And if you take offense to the joke, then that probably meant that it resonated with you in some way. And that maybe
that's the thing is like everyone who keeps getting upset about it and upset in the comments, like you're just outing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as if the shoe fits, right?
And we probably won't post much more LA content, but guys, we're not hiding the upstairs from anybody's eyes. We're working with what we got. We had a videographer, and like you can't just say you can't say something that's completely false. Like we're putting the ups. I can't even wrap my mind around it. Like how
pictures of the upstairs again when like every single post about LA has had photos and people from upstairs.
And how are you to tell what's up? Like it's white walls and a brown floor. Like both the upstairs and the downstairs look the same if it's a cropped in picture. Y'all are crazy, man. Like chill out.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why that would even be a reasonable thing for us to do. Why would we reasonably not show what happened upstairs? That makes no sense. That's like where the whole entire meat of the entire event was. We are showing the upstairs. Watch the recap. Like I'm like, come on, guys, give me a fucking minute.
Dummies, dude, dummies. Whatever.
Also, we can feel comfortable saying we do love you, but if you hate us, we don't fucking care. You don't want to do it, don't do it. You want to do it, do it. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, you know, earlier, could have had 300 booths. Like the people were there. There's a lot of people doing this vintage shit right now. And so, you know, if you rock with us and if you ride for us, we're going to ride for you. The events 9 times out of 10 seems like people are fucking killing it at ThriftCon. That's all I hear. So,
yeah,
you know, if you want to keep rocking with us, do it. If not, sell on Instagram.
Yeah. If you don't like someone, don't follow them.
If
you don't like a food, don't eat that.
And that's
food.
the end of the day. Like, you know, we want to be nice and we care about you guys. We love that. But at the end of the day, we also aren't with that customer is king shit. Like, you know, we will do this shit. We're going to do how we want with you or without you. You can be along for the ride or you cannot.
And there's no offense taken either way.
And if you just took offense to that, you're soft.
Yeah. Lighten up a little bit.
You're fucking soft.
Lighten up a little bit.
Soft as baby shit. Okay. That was fun.
But
we should end.
We do fuck with everybody who's done the events and loves the events. And we love you guys. We want you to keep coming. But we'll say it again. If you don't want to come, you don't have to.
And every single podcast with like a hit 'em up style fucking rant. Fuck you, you fat motherfucker. Fuck your bitch. Fuck your mama. Yeah. All right.
That's it.
Bye.